Now, you're saying that you plan to open camps on time, but it sounds like there are differences in the challenges between day camps and overnight camps. Overnight camps, you've really got more control over who stays and goes, and therefore, I guess you have different precautions that you can take. Tell me how you plan to manage each.
Yeah, well, I think in resident camping, sleepaway camp, certainly you can create a protected environment. If you choose, and we're certainly looking to do this, you can test your staff before they come to camp. You can test your campers before they come to camp and only accept those with negative tests. So you've already locked out COVID-19, at least initially. And then you can manage the visitors coming into camp. You can stop all out-of-camp trips, things along those lines, to make it as safe an environment as you possibly can. Remembering also that resident camps, sleepaway camps, are located up in rural communities where the prevalence of the virus is not as great as down in the suburbs or the cities, for that matter. In day camp, it's a different animal because you have campers and staff coming in and going out on a day-by-day basis. But again, by keeping groups small, by segregating groups so they have activities just with each other, you can have an interior or in-camp containment process going. You can manage campers on the bus, giving them enough space by making the buses a little less full and getting children to camp safely that way. Each has its own challenges. And again, the parents and parent confidence, while I think it's easier in the day camp area because, of course, children come home every night and they can feel, touch, and see their children. In the resident camp market, it's a little bit different. Parents have to trust that our medical staff up there can care for their children.
And I guess, Jay, you also are probably going to have to alter the program for day camps more than you would in the residence camps because you have distancing issues, I imagine, because you don't know where people have been when they weren't at camp, so there are precautions that you might have to take. I don't know what advice you're getting about use of pools, if chlorine does have a harmful effect on the coronavirus, which would be a good thing. How is the program going to change?
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head. First of all, when children are in the pools, chlorine is something that kills COVID-19, and I think pools are a safer place. Also, studies have shown, I've read a couple of studies recently, and I guess they have to be verified, go through the peer analysis, all of that, but basically that say that outdoors is a lot less much of a chance of transmission. So the more we keep children outside, playing around in the outdoors in the sun, fresh air, I think we've got a little bit better of a chance. That said, you still have to segregate groups so that you can contain a virus if there is an outbreak. And I think that occasionally you may have to do testing and monitoring in camp. You've got to watch children's health. You certainly have to advise parents that if children aren't feeling well, they should stay at home no matter what. You've got to be doing temperature checks on children and staff when they come into camp, even though I think a study I saw said that only 42% of children with COVID-19 actually had fevers. So, we have to be careful, but we can monitor this. And again, I think we're looking, and this is very important for everybody to understand, we're not looking to open camp today with the numbers you're seeing today. What we're looking at and hopeful for is that the numbers that we see coming down each and every day, a month from now, never mind in 7 weeks or so when we open, but even a month from now will be dramatically lower. And that will help just naturally contain the virus before it even gets to the doors of our camps.
Yeah, Jay, I think everybody's hoping for that. I'll tell you, in my part of the New York metro area, sleepaway camp, summer camp, it's a very big activity. It's also a very costly activity. Between the health concerns, which I realize hopefully are continuing to diminish over the coming weeks, but also the economic piece of this as we see unemployment spike right now, what do enrollment numbers look like?
Well, enrollment numbers, were strong coming into this, and we have seen some drop off. I think most parents are in a wait-and-see mode. They're taking a look at what's going on. They're nervous. There are some parents that are nervous. Others are biting the bit. But I think many parents understand this. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not about just don't send your children to camp and then somehow they're going to be safe. It doesn't work like that, because take a look at this past weekend. People go outdoors. Unless you're going to keep your children at home, locked up inside all summer long, they're going to go out. They're going to be in the neighborhood. in communities, as I said before, that have a greater prevalence of the virus than certainly at camp. So, I think that it's not it's a bit of a toss-up at times, and camps, I think, can make the environment safer because we're going to supervise it and structure it that way than just letting children, out to the playgrounds or the basketball courts or wherever it may be, where social distancing for children is really not that easy to establish. I mean, you have to look at this realistically, and I work with children. That's not so easy.